Hey everyone, how's it going? Azren here, owner of the Calgary Language Nerds, and welcome to today's A2/B1 level French lesson. If it's your first time watching this YouTube video or podcast episode, this is the series that I'm currently making to guide people at an A2 level of French or a B1 level, all the way up to a B2 level. In other words, I want to guide you from an upper beginner level or low intermediate all the way to a high intermediate level, because the vast majority of people who learn languages, they want to make that is the level they really want to reach. They want to reach an upper beginner, upper intermediate level in the French language. It is a level where you can talk about most topics, understand the vast majority of what people say. You can read books, you can watch a lot of movies and shows. You can really start to enjoy the language and really fully immerse yourself into that language in a very real, authentic kind of a way. And so I want to guide you to that level through this relatively long series of videos. Now, today, we're going to keep doing pretty much what we've been doing so far, and we're going to keep going through some really high frequency vocabulary that likely you haven't quite mastered yet. One of the big gaps from your level right now to the upper intermediate level is just vocabulary. A lot of really common words that you're going to see, you're going to hear, that you just haven't fully mastered yet. Now, today, we're going to practice some different words in a little bit of a different way. Really use your ears, and then I'll share my screen for the back half of the video, and I'll show you a lot of the words and sentences, things like that we've looked at, so you also have a visual of how it all is written out. Okay, so the very first word is an interesting word, actually, that we're going to look at. It's not a word that we exactly have in English, and the word is oeuvre. Oeuvre. Okay, so oeuvre is feminine noun, and it pretty much means like a piece of art. It's a piece of art. Now, it could be any kind of art. It could be a painting. It could be architecture. It could be literature, music, or even architecture. Maybe not. A building, is that oeuvre? I'm not sure if a building could be an oeuvre. Maybe not. Maybe. Depends on the context. But definitely could be a painting. Definitely could be some kind of a written piece of work like literature. Definitely could be a little sculpture or something like that. Any kind of art could be oeuvre. Oeuvre. Okay. I'll tell you a couple of different examples of how we might use this. So I might say something like, cette peinture est son œuvre. No, let's simplify it. Cette peinture est une œuvre très connue. Cette peinture est une œuvre très connue. One more time. Cette peinture est une œuvre très connue. So this painting is a very, very well-known piece of art, right? Or if I go in on a similar vein, La Joconde est une œuvre d'art très célèbre. La Joconde est une œuvre d'art, or just une œuvre, frankly, une œuvre très célèbre. La Joconde, you might not know this, is the French word for the Mona Lisa. So the Mona Lisa is a very famous, very célèbre piece of art. Une œuvre très célèbre. Let me look through my notes, see if there's another example I want to tell you here. Let's do this one here. Chaque sculpture est une œuvre unique. Chaque sculpture est une œuvre unique. Every sculpture is a unique piece of art. Okay. Let's do one last one. Let's do this one here. Nous étudions une œuvre littéraire en cours de français. Or you can even simplify it. Nous étudions une œuvre littéraire en cours. Nous étudions une œuvre littéraire en cours. We are studying a literary work, is a good way to put that, a literary work in our French class. So again, as a summary, oeuvre, we don't have a perfect translation for this word, but it pretty much is any kind of piece of art, and art taken in a very liberal definition. Sculptures, paintings, books, novels, like poetry, all kinds of creative endeavors. Let me share my screen and show you how it's spelled, and then we'll move on to our next word here. So oeuvre is spelled like this. So oeuvre up here. And we looked at here's a bunch of different sentences, more than we really did together, but you're welcome to pause and read through some of these. You're welcome to. I'll scroll through here so you can just read some others. There's a bunch, way more than we went through, but okay, let's do our next one. So our next word here A really useful word. You probably already know it, so we're not going to spend too much time on it. It's the word cependant. Cependant means however. Cependant is usually pretty much like, honestly, if we're talking, you're probably not going to use cependant as much as you'd use like mais. For example, like I don't know, je suis allé à Safeway. Safeway is a grocery store in my city. Je suis allé à Safeway, mais Safeway était fermé. But Safeway was closed. Like that's perfectly fine. And probably you'd say that more often than je suis allé à Safeway, cependant Safeway était fermé. You're going to use mais probably more often than cependant, but cependant is definitely something you'll read. It's definitely something you'll hear. Heck, it's probably something you'll use even at least sometimes. So I'll give you a couple of different examples of how you can use it. Pretty easy word. I could say like let's make up a couple here on the spot for this one. Donc il s'appelle Sam. Sam, il n'aime pas beaucoup les sports. Il n'aime pas le football, il n'aime pas le tennis, donc il n'aime pas. Cependant, il aime beaucoup faire du vélo. So I'll say one more time. Sam, il s'appelle Sam. Sam, il n'aime pas les sports, donc il n'aime pas le football, il n'aime pas le tennis. Cependant, il aime faire du vélo. So his name is Sam. Sam doesn't really like sports. He doesn't like soccer. He doesn't like tennis. However, he does ride his bike. Okay, very easy word. I'll share my screen so you can see how it's spelled, and we'll move on to our next one. We're gonna do probably about three or four more. We'll see how time treats us today, but a few more. We'll do a few more today. So here's cependant. Here's a couple of different example sentences. Feel free to pause and read through as many as you want. There's a whole bunch. There's some more. Here's some more. All right, next one here. This is definitely a word that almost certainly a lot of you are not going to know this word. It's another very high frequency word, and it is the word atteindre. Now, careful, it's not pronounced the same as attendre. Listen carefully, attendre, atteindre. Attendre is a word you probably know. Attendre is wait. So, for example, I'm waiting for you, je t'attends. This is atteindre, atteindre. Atteindre is a verb that means like, actually has a few different meanings, but I would say the best one to really like lock into your brain is something like to reach. Like you can reach a lot of different things. You can reach, for example, a goal. You could reach a location. Like you can drive your car and reach somewhere. I finally reached home today. Like it's kind of like reach or achieve or something like that. So I'll give you a couple of examples here. I'll read you some sentences. Let's do this one here. L'entreprise espère atteindre ses objectifs. L'entreprise espère atteindre ses objectifs. L'entreprise espère atteindre ses objectifs. The company, l'entreprise, espère is hopes. That might be a new word for you as well, actually, frankly, but espère atteindre, to reach, ses objectifs, its objectives. Or, vous devez travailler dur pour atteindre le succès. Or if we simplify even more, we can keep that sentence. Vous devez travailler dur pour atteindre le succès. Vous devez travailler dur pour atteindre le succès. You have to work hard. Vous devez travailler dur pour atteindre le succès, to attain success or achieve success. Let's do another one here. I don't like these ones, actually. Let's do this. Elle veut atteindre la perfection dans son art. Elle veut atteindre la perfection dans son art. Elle veut atteindre la perfection dans son art. She wants to achieve perfection. Elle veut atteindre la perfection, perfection in her art. Let's do one last one. Actually, I think that's a good place to wrap that up. So let me share my screen. Let me show you how that's spelled. So you can see it. Take it, write it down in your notes. Here we go. Atteindre. A lot of different example sentences here as well. You're welcome to pause and read through as many as you'd like. There's a whole bunch. Here are a whole bunch more. And here are some more. All right. How are you guys doing? How's your brain doing? Let's stick with it. Let's keep going. You're doing well. I believe in you. Okay. Next one here we're going to do is the word libre. We're going to do two at the same time, actually. We're going to do libre and gratuit. Libre et gratuit. Donc, libre and gratuit in English, both of them translate to free, but they work a little bit differently. Libre is free in the context of like, more in the context of like you're available, or like you're free to do something. Like you have the ability to do something. You're free to do it if you want to, right? Whereas gratuit, think of the word gratuity, gratuity, like in a restaurant, for example. It's free of charge. Like it doesn't cost any money. So gratuit is zero money, doesn't cost anything. Libre is more the context of like like independence or something like that. So or availability. So for example, cet après-midi, je suis libre après 3 heures. Cet après-midi, je suis libre après 3 heures. So this afternoon, cet après-midi, je suis libre, I am free, après 3 heures, after 3 p.m. Or I could say, for example, les citoyens veulent vivre dans un pays libre. Les citoyens veulent vivre dans un pays libre. Les citoyens veulent vivre dans un pays libre. The citizens want to live in a free country. Whereas if we look at gratuit, for example, it's a much more narrow use case. It's much more, for example, I don't know, like I'll just make up my own stuff. Ce stylo est gratuit. This pen is free. Ce livre est gratuit. This book is free. Mon téléphone n'était pas gratuit. My phone was not free. Mon téléphone n'était pas gratuit. My phone was not free. Okay. I'll show you quickly how those two are spelled. These are pretty easy words. Nothing crazy going on here. So, libre, here it is. Here's some example sentences. Let's look at gratuit. Here's gratuit. Again, very, very easy word. Nothing crazy here. Let's do one last one today. Actually, do you want one last one? Let me look at my list myself. I think actually that's a good place to stop today. Let's stop that here today. So thank you for watching. Really hope you enjoyed today's lesson. By the way, if you ever have any questions, you're welcome to email me. There's a contact link in the episode description box. As well, if you want to take any private classes with me, my students actually, so interestingly, as a fun fact, these videos were inspired by a large degree by my students. I use these as support materials for my own students. So they're free on YouTube, but I mean, I use them with my students. So if you kind of like the vibe of these videos and you think you'd like to work with me as a tutor, there's also a link in the episode description box to just the home page of my website. I have some information there about my methodology, who I teach. It's a little bit of a different kind of approach than most people. It's very analytical, very much based on data and like you'll see on the website, I describe it. So if you want to work with me, then yeah, that's also an option. All right. Have a great day. See you next time. Salut.